Hello, this is Joe Sonona with Coffee Talk and Sonona Speaks Seminars. And my guest this week is Dan Bourke, and he's from Exit Realty Island Elite. Did I get that right, Dan?
There you go. You got it right, man. Too many syllables.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Joe. Thanks so much for having me, man. You know, for anyone that's watching, it is 9 a.m. right now. Me and Joe, I do have a 3.5-week-old, so if it's written all over my face that I'm a little exhausted, you hit the nail on the head. So, but I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Well, welcome to the show, and I just want our audience to know that this is a listing show, a listings pro show. You are a listing pro, and that's why you're here. And I just wanted to maybe give a little background on you and how you got started in real estate and where you are now.
Sure. So to make a long story short, I had a 13-year music career. Okay, so I'm a professional drummer, and at 16, I joined my first touring band. And then from there, I had like 3 different bands, traveled the world for like 13 years, 7 months a year. I was traveling, going to Australia, Europe, wherever, all over the place. It was a blast. I had a great time. Too good of a time.
Nice.
I had a pretty successful band. But anyways, long story short, me and my girlfriend at the time had bought our home here in Sound Beach on Long Island. And there were just a lot of like real life duties that kind of started to add up. We were given a home up in Connecticut that was gifted to us. We had some deaths in the family. All this stuff kind of just started piling up. I mean, and I had to quit the traveling lifestyle. I had to hang up my traveling hat. I wasn't quite ready. I was just dealing with the hand I was dealt here at this particular time in my life. This was maybe 6 years ago. And I decided to get my real estate license because that makes sense, right? Let's go from a music career to pitching real estate. But what was cool is we know, Joe, that anyone can get the real estate license for under $150 these days, right? So it's very low risk thing to attempt, and that's why, as you've said on your show here before, 87% of realtors fail or leave the business in their first year or so.
Look who's been watching Coffee Talk.
Now, that's actually a statistic that I do teach to my agents at my office. I chat about that, and I'm kind of a big advocate of some tough love, maybe we'll get into that in a bit. But okay. Anyways, I also thought that real estate would kind of suit me well because it was very entrepreneurial, right? Similar to my music business. When I was playing shows in Spain, for example, I would get excited because I wrote those songs in my mother's garage in Rocky Point, New York. Wow. And now I'm in Spain and they don't even speak English and they know all the words to these songs, and that got me excited. Same as real estate. Like, I don't have a boss. I created this. What's going on here? I created it, and that's something that really got me excited. Also, I had a very large social sphere at the time. So it kind of just took off for me as far as the real estate goes. And then a couple years down the line, I was approached by who are now my partners at Exit Realty Island Elite. They asked if I wanted to open up an office. I said, hell yeah. And here we are.
Oh, that's a great story. And I'm sure there's a lot of fillers in between that you left out. And
a lot. You have a half-hour show here. So
well, the challenging part was that you had a really nice Robert Frost, turn of events, in your life, and you take this road now.
Yeah.
And then you say to yourself at probably around 50, I don't know how old you are. How old are you?
I'm 35.
35. Well, at 50, you say to yourself, was this road worth taking? Was this the road that made all the difference? And certainly you'll answer that question. But welcome to Real Estate 101 of everything, as we say. And a musician to boot. So everyone buys to the beat of your drum. That was a bad joke. Well,
I think you're onto something.
I think I'm onto a new marketing ploy.
I'll give you the credit when that's on my next business card.
Okay, perfect. You know how many people I've helped over the years where, I've gotten their marketing piece or their tagline, whatever. And I always said, well, if I help you, can I get a residual from you?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you the first question that I always ask everyone on the show. What is your secret sauce to listing?
Huh. Secret sauce to listing. Yeah.
I know you have a secret sauce because I've seen you blast the crap out of Suffolk County with your listings.
A little bit. This is what I teach a 4-hour, like I told you before. I teach a 4-hour new agent boot camp at my office because that was something I realized that a lot of offices weren't doing. Right, most offices they say, yeah, we'll sign you up, and then they say, all right, see you later. Go sell something. Let me know when you sell something. Right. So, especially as a co-owner of my office, I didn't want agents out there all willy-nilly trying to sell homes. There's a lot of liability in this business, Joe. So right. So what I teach my agents is this. And this is because this is what I did. And I didn't start at Exit. I started at a smaller brokerage where there was no classes, there was no nothing, right? So I call it the 3-year plan, okay? Because real estate or developing a real estate career is chess, not checkers, right? I would have, in retrospect, done my first 5 deals for free, Joe, just for the learning experience, just to understand how the deal works and to get more referrals out of it. So this 3-year plan of mine, a lot of people might not agree with it, but it's bust your ass for 3 years. I watched your interview with Jen Fischetic from Exit Realty, our president-elect, and I agreed with what she said 100%. If you put the effort and the hard work and the care and she used a much better word for it, but you put that much effort and time into each one of your deals at first. You answer the phone at 10 p.m. You answer the phone at 8 a.m. You work the weekends. Then by year 2, by year 3, those referrals should start coming in. That's how I look at it. I'm not chasing in my first year or 2 trying to do 100 deals in my first year or 2. I'm trying to do 10 in my first year or 2, but do them so damn good that those will be referrals forever. That's kind of how I look at it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And, a lot of offices don't have proper training for their agents. And, sadly, 87% of all new agents fail in their first year. So, we invented this show so that we could help new agents, pedal along a little bit so that we could give them good advice from us, the realtor community, who is and has gone through that struggle and has learned from that struggle. And we have actually developed, listing techniques and selling techniques. So I said to myself, why not put a show and base that show around listings rather than, sit here and watch the process fail itself over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's why we're here. Tell me, what is your advice for new agents coming into the business? What should they know first and foremost about listings, about anything?
Again, this is going to fall into that tough love category, Joe. I kind of just shoot it to people straight, especially some of the new agents at my office. What I tell new agents is recognize that there are 40,000 realtors on Long Island, right? Recognize that what you signed up to do is to handle people's largest assets. Take the job seriously. That's my biggest piece of advice to new agents. The first slide in my new agent boot camp is pop quiz. How many square feet are in an acre? Right? And I'd say maybe 1 of every 5 agents in the class actually knows the answer. And I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not really surprised, but I get surprised, or I fake this surprise when I say, but aren't all of you professional licensed real estate salespeople? Wouldn't you know how many square feet are in an acre, And again, it's a little bit of tough.
And that starts at the pre-licensing. Everything begins at pre-licensing. And if we're going to keep discounting our schools, our courses in the schools, and we're going to, take this class for under $100, $150, like you said, we're not developing professionalism in the classroom, and where you know why? Because some of the instructors are just coasting it along and pushing it along for agents to get their license. We're not raising that bar.
That's a very good point, Joe. I never really looked at it that way, that you can probably stick a lot of that blame on the schools. I'll say something right now. When I won't say which license it was with the multiple licenses that I've gotten, but one of them I paid for quote unquote extra help, and basically the extra help instructor at LIBOR just gave me all the answers to the test. So yeah, you're totally right. I feel like some of these classes, some of these teachers or classes are just looking for the quick buck and just making it easy. And then the agents, unfortunately, get out to the real world. I consider the 75-hour course to be a lot like high school, right? And then the real estate career is like the real world. And then you're out there like, oh crap, what do I do? What do I do?
Right. And I always equate, you know, our new licensees to freshmen coming into our high school, coming into our college. And, you know, there's a lot of systems that are thrown into a real estate agent's world at the first year, such as you expect that agent to now have communication skills. You have that agent expected to write postcards or notes of thank you and have excellent writing skills. Think about the basics, the very basics that we want our agents to master in their first year. And you throw all these systems and all this technology at them in their first year, and you say, okay, now you're a real estate agent, go fly.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people do. And, you know, I'm not blaming a particular school or a particular institution, but the basic skills of learning are not being taught in the classroom. I know, I'm an instructor.
Yeah.
And you're an instructor.
Right.
And we know that at the core of this business is education. So in your listings, when you go to list, do you use any special technology? Do you use any special marketing that another agent could say, hey, that's a good idea, maybe I could use it in my business?
I have to just say there was on something that you had just said, piggybacking off of it, there was a great Mitch Hedberg stand-up joke, rest in peace, Mitch. But it was like, you know, he was a professional stand-up comedian, and then all these talent agencies would say like, okay, can you act? And he's like, well, that's not what I do. I'm a comedian, right? I do stand-up. I don't act. That's like saying I'm going to mess this joke up, but it's like, that's like saying to a cook, he's worked all of his life and he opens up this, you know, 5 Michelin star restaurant, whatever. And then they go, can you farm? That was the joke. That guy was too funny, really dry. But anyways.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
There's a foundation here. And, you know, I know we're digressing, but, you know, I do rant on the show, and I know you'll rant on it.
Yeah.
But I just, you know, I feel that when I have an instructor such as yourself, or someone who is a big trainer in a company, and I applaud you for doing what you do in your boot camp, because you know what, a lot of offices don't have that. And it's like taking someone fresh out of school who learned some things, some training, you know, if they come across instructors, and there are some really good instructors out there, but there are some really bad instructors out there, or some instructors that should be retired because, you know, they've passed their prime of being that great influencer, that great mentor, you know?
Yeah.
So here is a new agent, comes into our business and now wants to be a lister, and says, what kind of technology should I be using in real estate?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, to actually answer your question finally, I don't think I have.
Man, we're having fun here.
Right, yeah. I don't think I have a great answer that, you know, you have like over 100 episodes. I don't think I'm going to have any sort of answer that's different than any of your other top listing agents, right? As far as technology,
can you beat your partner Jason, because he was one of my guests? Can you beat his answer?
Can I beat his answer? I'll tell you what I use, but this is also what 99% of agents are using. Make sure you're doing professional photos to be a good listing agent. If the house is unique or has some cool qualities, do some video too. Maybe do the Matterport. You know what I'm saying? If you're hitting maybe a certain price range. I use the app HomeSnap a lot, and that is to, I use HomeSnap. I'm sure maybe some other agents are going to see this, but I actually use HomeSnap. If I'm about to get into a negotiation with another agent, I use HomeSnap to look up that agent to see what I'm about to go up against or who I'm going to go up against.
Terrific.
To see
wait till you get one of mine. Wait till you see my profile.
What's that?
Wait till you see my profile. You're going to be intimidated.
Yeah.
No, that's a good idea. I mean, because you want to know that you're not going to be insulting to that agent, or let's say a new agent comes in front of you, and you're not going to be an idiot and say, "I know more than you." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, at all.
Say, may I show you a rope or two of what I do?
Listen,
and you're being, and it would behoove that agent to learn from you, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. So I chalk up going on HomeSnap and looking up the other agent. I consider it like I'm about to go into a boxing match, right? In a boxing match, the fighters do watch videos of the other person and what they do to prepare for what's about to come. Now, that's a lot more involved, or that's a much bigger deal than just a negotiation. But yeah, I like to see kind of who I'm about to get on the phone with, right? There are some times, yes, where there's a newer agent on the other end of the phone, and I'm of course super pleasant with them, and I might have to teach them exactly what I'm saying. Some of them still don't know what a binder might be. Hey, send me the binder, and they don't know, right? Or maybe sometimes on the buyer side, you're negotiating a 3% buyer broker commission. I'd say 90% of the time, the agent on the other end of the phone doesn't know what I'm talking about if I'm negotiating a sort of buyer broker commission. So I have to very pleasantly and politely and just kind of teach them what I'm talking about. But also at the
first, we have to educate agents on how to be buyers agents.
Say that again.
First, we have to educate the agent to be a buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of agents are not properly trained to be a buyer's agent.
No.
And they don't know, believe it or not, that they have that option to work. They don't know that.
I know.
And when I'm not talking commissions here,
but
right. They don't know how I structure the fee in my deal so that I can get paid, they can get paid, and the seller, of course, is the most important that gets paid.
Yeah.
A lot of education that goes into what we do, and it's just a shame that we're not doing it properly.
Agreed. That's another class that I teach at my office. It's an hour-long class called Mastering Buyer Brokerage. And one of the first slides in the class is telling people that 90% of realtors out there. I'm making up that statistic. I don't know what it actually is. It's just my guess. But most realtors out there don't do this. So I say to them, I want you to recognize that you have an option here, but I urge you to get this buyer broker contract signed, and everything I teach you from here to the end of the class should be your new normal. This should be your new standard. Anyway, that's a whole nother.
What advice would you give to an experienced agent if you had to give advice on listings or anything to an experienced agent?
Maybe two things. If you're experienced, you probably are already pretty good. And there's so many different types and styles of agent. I'm my own kind of niche style. I think my clientele has really appreciated my hard work and my realness, right? So I'd say just being real with people. People don't want to be sold to. I'm sure you've heard it a million times, Joe, but this is a relationship building business. This is not so much a sales business. This is relationship building and marketing. That's all we're really doing. Am I any better or worse than Jason Fernari or Dan O'Neill or Brian Karp or whoever No, I don't know if I'm even doing much different, or any one of us are doing anything that's much different. It's about relationship building. So I'd say just being real and being friendly and being yourself, not coming off as a used car salesman. That's one little piece of advice. But also, especially for the more experienced agents, taking time for yourself. In my music career, there were many times where we toured too much and we burnt the heck out of ourselves, man, where we wanted to wring each other's necks. And you could have the best job ever. You can be making $1 million, but still, you can burn yourself out, right? And I think the same in real estate, especially with with a client-based business where you want to be available and maybe you didn't go to the beach on Sunday because you had this new buyer. Sometimes it's okay to give yourself a day because you're going to be no good to anybody if you're burnt out,
I always say you have to create the best version of yourself. And how can you do that if you're just not taking some time to recharge, re-energize? Even in the morning, just have that simple meditation, prayer, journal, anything that will get you going and make sure that you are in front of your clients with the best version of yourself. Because let's face it, the client is going through what they're going through, and you don't want to, love and conquer their misery by giving them your own.
Right. Now, it's funny, saying that whole thing out loud about making time for yourself, in the back of my head, I'm like, you are an effing hypocrite. Because I don't do that. I don't do that at all. But I heard.
I was going, wait a minute. I don't pray. I don't meditate. I don't journal. I don't do this. But you know what? It sounded good.
Yeah,
but,
I heard it's great to do that.
But I do want to do it. It's the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And the mind plays tricks on you at the same time. No, I am going to carve out some time. I am going to do what is necessary and I want agents on this, who look at this show to understand that we realtors don't do that enough. I had some past episodes already where nutrition and fitness, we don't take care of our bodies. We don't eat properly. We're always on the run, with that hot dog in our hand, and we're eating it in the car,
Right.
So I am trying to bring some value to the real estate community. You mentioned before some really good names, including your business partner in real estate. And I would just love for all of these big names. Can you imagine getting the biggest names in real estate, right? Just the biggest names, and putting them all in one classroom, reuniting them, and them teaching their secret sauce to a new agent coming into the business and serve as inspiration to all those people that come in, or even have a conference with all of those big names, all of us, including your business part, everybody together, and just, showing one unified talent, if you will.
Yeah.
Like if it's like wanting to play with the Beatles,
Sure.
If you could go back in time and play with the Beatles, would you play with the Beatles?
Absolutely. It's funny you say that because, the top producer panels do exist, but they're always for realtors. They're always for licensed professionals. But what you're suggesting is do it for people considering getting into business, yeah?
You, Jason, myself,
right.
You got Dan O'Neill, you got Brian Carr, you got all these successful real estate agents they serve as inspiration. They one day only, just put together a conference where we could all get together on the same stage and show off our talents to one another, to those agents that want to learn. And I think that would be a sold out real estate event, not a panel, but something along the lines of, let me show you, how I work.
Yeah.
Let me show you my secret sauce here,
right. And then we
mentioned it, and I thought of it. I was imagining it, how all of us get together.
Yeah, and then we should have a ring in the middle and turn it into a Royal Rumble at the end. If you're really trying to sell tickets, I think that's the route, Joe. I think with what you got going on there,
like a mud fest, like a mud wrestling contest.
Hey,
let's see. I don't know. I think I could take on Jason, but I don't know if I could take you on. And I think I would get slaughtered by Brian Carp and Dan O'Neill for sure.
Oh, man, what a funny time that would be. Imagine, I'm picturing.
But we would have fun doing it at the same time.
Absolutely.
So last question, because this is, you said it from the beginning of this interview. It's going to be a different interview.
Yeah.
So I always ask.
Is this your first time having a real human head in one of your interviews?
Oh my God! Is that it? Really? Is that a head?
Yeah, it is.
Up there. Oh my God. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving
Little
on.
different, right?
It is a very different. And I see you like butterflies. I do too.
Yeah,
You know,
well, I'm
butterflies
big into like I collect a lot of animal and human bones and a lot of entomology as well. So I got the tarantula there and all sorts of stuff.
I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
Wait till my little girl sees this. She's already definitely afraid of real animals.
Oh yeah.
And now she'll be like, "Who's that guy you had on Coffee Talk?"
Who's that weirdo?
I didn't want to say it. But I like the butterflies, and it's very symbolic of this interview for new agents because they go through that metamorphosis of change, and then they become a very and they go into the the whole transition of becoming a really nice, good butterfly, strong and colorful, and that's what we're here to do. Tell me, if you had to pick between the fiduciary duties, and I know they're all important. Right, this is what I ask every guest at the end of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Between obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accountability, and reasonable care, which one would you pick, Dan Bourke, and why?
This is such a funny question, Joe. I know you've done so many episodes asking this question, but it's like, which one of these 6 pieces of bread is your favorite?
It's true, but you know what? I know I put people on the spot.
Yeah,
I know they're all important. I know they're very important. And this is the foundation of our business.
Sure.
But if you had to choose between one of those pieces of bread called the fiduciary duties, which one would you pick, Dan Bourke, and why?
Probably loyalty. I think it's a very cool feeling when you can consider yourself a part of the family, almost. You know what I mean? When you're selling their house, it's almost like it's your house. Treating it
right.
as such. Only acting in your client's best interest and having that loyalty to them, I think is really cool. That's something I've always felt, even just like was a big part of my life with my friends and my family. I'm big into loyalty across the board with my friends and family. So being able to develop that relationship with a client, I think is kind of cool. Like, oh yeah, we're in this together now. We're gonna do this. That's me putting my arm around them.
Oh, you got the guy in the headlock.
Right, yeah, we're doing this, buddy. But yeah, loyalty would probably be my favorite. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, you promised me a very different interview. I had a lot of fun with you. Maybe this is my way of, decompressing and putting on the best version of myself, is to start off a coffee talk every morning with someone like you.
Yeah, great.
I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with you today, and I really want to thank you for being my guest on the show. I'm sure our guests, our agents out there, want to know a little bit more about you. And on a serious note, you are a true professional and is making a difference. And I saw some years ago. And there wasn't a frog in my throat. I have an allergy.
Okay.
I saw some years ago a portrait that says, and I know I'm going to mess this up, that when you light from one candle and you keep lighting from that one candle and you keep sharing that one light, it can light up an entire world. So you keep lighting, Mr. Dan Bourke, because I know that you've made some really successful entrepreneurs in your company. I come across them very much. I've interviewed some of them. I will interview more of them. And I wish you good luck in your business. You and Jason and Susan, of course, my favorite as well. And just keep on shining is my parting words to you.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. I really like that sentiment there. That's a great, yeah. You can keep lighting candles up that one light, and you can light up the world. I think that's huge, and that's what I strive to do every day. Every agent that comes into my office, when they take my classes, if I can see them out there spreading their wings, it's such a fantastic feeling, you know. And as much as I like to joke around and everything, you know, yeah, you're totally right. I'm also a bit of a mush, so yeah. Sometimes I see like my agents out there, and they're doing their first deal or collecting their first check, and it's such a rewarding and awesome feeling, and I freaking love it. And I want to thank you so much, Joe, for having me, and I had a great time chatting with you. Maybe in another year we'll do this again, and we'll see what happens.
And congratulations! I did want to put a little plug in for your little daughter, you know,
Oh,
and
thank you.
your new daughter,
Yeah.
And your wife, of course. And God bless you and everybody's at home, safe and sound. Okay.
Thank you so much, Joe. God bless you as well, and I appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you very much, everybody. This has been a very exciting episode of Coffee Talk with the listing pros in real estate. This is Joe Sonona with Sonona Speaks Seminars. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.